In this video, we're going to drive this 1975 Mercedes 280 SL for the first time in 10 years. We bought this car on eBay as a painted shell a few years ago. I've been rebuilding it slowly but surely, just finished doing the brakes. So let's see if this car moves under its own steam. So just before I put the key in the ignition and put the car in gear, there are a few things I need to do. I noticed that the prop shaft is not connected to the differential. There's some bolts missing, so we're going to just put some bolts in there. There's an intermittent problem with the neutral safety switch, whereby sometimes when you turn the key, absolutely nothing happens. So we're going to have a look at that neutral safety switch and see if it's just a matter of loose wiring. Sometimes it can be the shift link bushes are loose or missing, and therefore the shift lever's not in the right position relative to the switch. So we're here under the car, and you can see that for some reason the bolts that connects that prop shaft to this flex disc here are missing, so we're just going to go in there and put those bolts in temporarily. We're not going to torque them up. They should be torque spec of 45 Newton meters, but as I say, all of this is quite tricky to do lying upside down on the car. One thing I noticed lying underneath the car here is that there are no washers here on this bolt. Now that's either because they've put them on the wrong side, which is, by the looks of it, what they have done. So I'm going to have to take these bolts out and actually put the washers on the right side as well. We're just going to undo this here and make sure there's actually some oil in the rear diff. If you do ever have to undo one of these hex fittings, it's absolutely crucial that you clear out all the gunk inside before you start trying to loosen it, so that you avoid the risk of actually rounding it. This should fit in here all the way. Sometimes you have to even tap it in with the mallet, but you can see if you don't put that in all the way and you try and get a breaker bar or something on there, you'll just end up rounding the fitting. Well, we've managed to knock that socket in there, but unfortunately we're so low down here that even with a long breaker bar, I can't break that free. Okay, plan B worked, which is basically put a 17mm on there and hit it as hard as you can. So the idea is just to put our finger in there and see if there is actually any rear diff oil. So you can see there is oil in there up to the level. So when you fill this, you basically fill it up until it just dribbles out. So that has got oil in it. It doesn't look too bad either, so we'll just tighten that back up. Next up, let's just make sure there's some oil in the car and check out the state of that oil. Well, there's oil in there. Looks pretty black, but it usually does. The level seems fine. I've checked that there's transmission oil in the car, but ideally you should do that check with the engine running. Let's crawl under the car and have a look at that neutral safety switch and the gear link bushings. It's very difficult to film what I'm doing under the car here, but I'm just trying to take off the linkage between the gear lever and the neutral safety switch here, because there are no bushings on either side, and that could be one of the reasons why the gear lever is not quite in the right position. So we finally managed to extract the lever here. We'll take that out and have a closer look at it. Here is the transmission rod linkage, and you can see that there's no bush in the end here, and there was no bush on that side either. These are just held in place by these Mercedes locking clips here, and to get this off you just undo this nut here, and that will just pry straight out of the transmission. And this little plate here tells you exactly what gear you're in, so don't be undoing that nut, or if you do undo that nut and take that plate off to clean it, which we may well do, make sure you make a careful note of where everything is. The bushings that fit in here are the sort of clear plastic larger ones, so we're going to whiz up to Mercedes and see if they've got any in stock. Just before we put this bracket and the transmission rod there back on the car, we've just sanded all the rust off, gone off over that with Eastwood rust encapsulator, and we'll give it a coat of Eastwood Extreme Chassis Black tomorrow. It's a couple of days later, and we finished painting these, first with the rust encapsulator, then with the Extreme Chassis Black. Now, if you had more time and you had the whole car in pieces, you would probably get these zinc plated, both this and the rod. Now, we've been along to Mercedes and got the 2 bushings and also the 2 clips here. In total, including VAT, that was just under £10. These are the locking clips from Mercedes, and they are a slightly different design from the originals. What I've done is I've painted the originals, and I may just use them because I think trying to get those on there, we are just going to end up scraping most of the paint off. Wow, getting that bushing in that hole, I'm not saying it's the hardest thing I've ever done in my life, but I'll tell you what, it's close. It's such a tight fit. What I've done is just used a big bolt, a series of washers, and then to protect the paintwork, I actually used one of the seals off a master cylinder there. These bushings are really tight and difficult to get in there. And the way I would suggest doing it is first put a bit of grease on the bushing. Now, if you've got this out of the car, it's relatively easy. You just need to slide a bolt and a washer on there, slide it through, and then use something like a hose clamp that's big enough to fit round the other end, and then use another washer and just tighten it up with a spanner. Now you'll be able to do that lying upside down under the car to get the other bushing in, but it is quite awkward. Now quite often it's the absence of those bushings that not only will make your gear stick seem loose, but will also sometimes stop the car from starting because the gear lever's not quite in park. A lot of people actually go ahead and change the neutral safety switch, but often it's the absence of all the worn out bushings that cause that. We finally managed to get that bushing on there just using a short bolt and then actually using a hose clamp on the other side, so that could slide through nice and easily. But it was a right pain without a ramp. If you have taken the neutral safety switch off for any reason, there is a locating hole to make sure you put it back in the right position, and you're going to need something like a 4mm drill bit to do that. I'll try and show you under the car, but it is quite difficult filming. So just here is where you have to put a little 4mm drill bit or something to align this plate up with that hole to make sure that the gear lever is in the right place. It took ages getting those bushes on there. Now, if we are lucky, when we put the key in the ignition, the car will start, the neutral safety switch will be in the right position, and the gear shift will also be in the right position. If we're unlucky, we'll find that somebody has previously adjusted the linkage to compensate for there being no bushes, so we'll soon find out. So we'll just turn the key a couple of times, see if we've got any fuel pressure. There you go, that's just at about 2 bar, which should be fine. Let's see what happens if we try and start the car. Well, the good news is that the car started straight away. The bad news is it's revving super high, almost as if you've got your foot full on the accelerator. So I've got a suspicion that I know what the problem is, namely that one of those pipes, air pipes under there is not connected. I don't know how well this comes out on camera, but I took that, I think it's called the idle air valve, out to look at it, and it is knackered, but I don't think I reconnected the pipe back up by the looks of it. Well, there's the problem. For some reason, I did not connect this back up. I remember why I didn't connect that up. It was because all the fittings were rusty, so I ordered some 12 to 20mm stainless steel ones from Akku. So let's see what happens now when we start this car up. I'm hoping it will rev normally. We'll soon find out. That is much better. So let's see what happens after 10 years or more of not driving. I'm going to finish this video here. In the next video, we're going to probably take this car for a test drive. I just need to reconnect the handbrake cables, which are just hanging loose under the car. And we've just got our Pagoda back from film set. Unfortunately, they did manage to reverse into a post and damage this light and dent the whole back of it. This has been in the body shop and they've repaired that really well, but we now need to source one of these lights, and there's various different types of them, so I just need to take that out and have a quick look at it first. The other thing I need to do on this Pagoda is actually fix the roof, because this piece of trim, which is normally riveted on there, has come off, revealing a whole lot of rotten metal. So we'll either fix that ourselves or take that to a body shop. So if you are interested in Mercedes, or any cars for that matter, take a moment to subscribe, because in the next few weeks we are going to be repainting the bonnet, rebuilding the grille on this car, putting the doors back together. We've got to make up a door card. We've got to get this car up on the ramp there, take the front and the rear subframes off, get everything powder coated, new axle shafts at the back, new springs, etc. This car, when it's finished, is going to make a beautiful car for someone.